Hello, welcome to the Clarity 16.4.1 Feature Supportability Training. My name is Bill Yee. And today we're going to cover the new Clarity Report Migration Enhancements for 16.4.1. So what's new in our new Clarity Report Migration space? We now added support for replace. So when you do an import, we will not only create it on the target server, but we can also replace. And that's based on the migration key. So if the contents in your export extract matches, the migration key matches what's on the target server, it will replace it. Otherwise, there's no match, we'll do a new create on the target server. We've also added an option to publish the report on import. And right now, the default is that it doesn't publish, but now you have that option to publish it, actually on import. We added image support as part of the report export and import. So now we've, if previously it would just show just the definition without the image, now you're able to bring over those images and export it and import it on your target server. We've also added some new information to the manifest file. It allows you to kind of do some due diligence, review the when you had this export extract and what's the contents to ensure that you're importing the right information. You can look at that new manifest file and it gives you information related to the reports, the data provider, and all the images that are part associated to that import zip file. And we also have added a import error file. In case you had error messages, before you could only read it just from the notification bell. Within here, when you see the notification, you can actually download it to a CSV import error file, similar to our, if you're familiar with our CSV import error file, that you can download and you can review that offline and then see and do some debugging, and you have that file to use for debugging if you had issues as part of the import. So why are these new changes important? Well, it helps streamline the deployment process. So when you're actually building the reports and or doing configurations within your data provider, you don't have to rebuild those changes from your dev to your prod. You can do it in your dev, extract it out, either create it or replace it on your target server now. We've added some safeguard related to the integrity to make sure when you're working on reports, we don't do any overriding of existing changes, only when you need to. So we made some checks in where if your report or data provider has edits, it will not allow you to replace it, and we'll show you that as part of the demo. And what it does also to these new changes minimizes kind of import errors that you may have. We've added information related to the manifest file because you could have a lot of zip files on your local server, and then there was no way before to really make sure, okay, am I importing the right item? And with those enhancements to the manifest file, you can actually do some reconciliation of it. Okay, these are the right things I exported at when you did it, and these are the reports and data providers I have, to make sure you're importing the correct data, because once you import it, it's going to overwrite it, and you may not be able to undo those changes. So having that information, doing some checks ahead of time allows you to minimize these errors. And also too, we have those enhanced error logging and be able to download the error files so you don't miss what those errors were, and now you'll be able to use that offline to debug where your issues are at. Also note the report migration, the import export for data providers and report are still beta, so keep that in mind, but we are interested in your feedback. So please let us know if there's any items that you like, also too, or you like to have enhanced as part of it, your priority. Please let us know and we'll line those up for a future release. So I'm going to give a demonstration of our new Clarity report migration enhancements for 16.4.1. And one of the things I want to show some of the changes we made on the report designer grid. Now before, I guess say for example, you have a report that has edits. If you check it to say if you want to do an export, we disable the export button because we have to make sure that it doesn't have edits and you need to have a migration key. But we also disable the copy. There was some confusion on, okay, when you do a copy, do you copy only the published one or one that has edits? At what point do you copy the one that has edits? So what we made the change is that you only do a copy if the report is published, or if you're doing a draft, you never published it, so you may want to make additional copies as you're building it. So you can only do a copy if the report is published or is in draft mode. If it has edits, we'll disable the copy button. So let's drill out into this report. So one of the changes we did in this release is now supported. We support now images in part of the export extract. Previously, if you had a widget with an image, it will export it but wouldn't bring over the image file associated with it. So now I have some images associated with my report. Let's go ahead and export this out. So if we come inside here and do an export, we'll bring both report designs and data provider. And it's running the export of it. Now, when we do this export, we do some compression of those images as well. So to try to maximize, at least reduce the amount of size because, but in part of that extract, and you see it right now. Let's go ahead and download this out. And then let's take a look at this particular file. And we made some changes to the manifest file because in terms of the user, they may not know exactly, they may have that export file, but they may have multiple ones and they want to know, okay, am I selecting the right one or what is the contents of it? And so if you're unsure what the contents of this file is, if you maybe extracted like a couple weeks back, we now bring over as part of that file the reports in this extract and the data providers. So just to give you some insight of what's happened, and also to some of the dates, the actual size, to kind of give you some context on when this export happens. So, and this is good to know when you're doing the import. It's good to know this info, to do this kind of due diligence before you do your import. Otherwise, you're going to be importing this in, and it's going to be the wrong contents. Also, too, we've increased the import size to 50 megabytes. Used to be 20 megabytes, now it's 50. But knowing that, and now with the support of images, you can have images that are over 20 megabytes with that. So as part of the manifest, we also include all the images that are included in the extract with the report is associated with it and the size. So if you're hitting that 50 megabyte limit, you may want to look at some of your images as part of it. And this is a way look into your manifest file. And if you're hitting that limit, what you may want to do is then reduce the number of reports in your extract, or maybe you just have a report with an image that is way too big. What you may want to do is not bring over the image and export the rest. And then when you get to your target server, upload that image to that widget on the target server. But using the manifest, you can kind of provides a way to reconcile what you have in there and make sure what you're importing is what you feel what you want to import. And what I did ahead of time is got another server and gave it a different theme here. Now, one of the main enhancements for this release is now when you import, we can replace a existing content on the target server. Previously, we did the migration, can only do a create on the target server. Now we are able to do replace. And the way we do that is based on the migration key. If that migration key matches the target server, it will replace the server. If there's no match, then it will go ahead and create that that report on the target server. So let's go ahead and do a but first, let's go ahead, to let you show you it does a replace. This is the content of this server on the source server. Now let's take a look. This is the same report on the target server, but let's go ahead and do some modifications. Let's remove, say, all these images, and I just exported that out. So we're gonna remove these images, and I'm gonna change this report from bar to a column. And I'm gonna go ahead and do a publish. And then I'll come back and let's do that import from inside. We have a new option now here to when you import it, you want that report published on import. You get it by default to be unchecked, but this time we're going to show it actually publish when we actually do the import. Now, this is the one we just exported out today. So let's go ahead and we'll go through the import of this particular extract file. And we'll actually work through this one. As you mentioned, yeah, we increased the import size to 50 megabytes, but the images that you upload via the, like say, a image widget, that's still 20 megabytes. So keep that in mind. So if you come by in here, it reported imported successfully, and if you come back in here, you see it actually replaced that image, which is going to be the same as we had in our source server. So this shows you how things work from a replace capability as well. Also, too, when you import this replace, it doesn't impact any schedules as the existing previously set up schedules. So any new schedules, it'll just it shouldn't impact what those are. Now, granted, in that schedule, if you may have changed some filters or removed some attributes that were used as filters or something that that it had previously as part of the schedule, you may need to re-update your schedule. But it doesn't. You won't have to remove and delete, which could remove all your other instances. It'll just it'll retain all those old instances, but you may need to update the schedule in order to have those changes that for any additional attributes as need be. Previously, if there was an impact, you had to remove the schedule and re-add it, and that when you remove it, you remove all their past schedules. So we fixed that as part of this release as well. One thing to also note is, say if I came back in here and I have this report that has edits, it will not allow you to import a file that has edits. So this Clarity is an enterprise system, and you may not want, while you're doing an import and someone's actually doing a change to that particular report, we don't want them to overwrite it, only when necessary. So when you will only allow you to replace an existing file on the target server if it's been published. So for example, let's go ahead and import this again on the target server. It will, from this example, it will go ahead and give you some a warning that you had some edits related to your file here. And I don't know if folks who are familiar with our export capability, our CSV import capabilities, we now have a download error file that what comes in, and you'll see a error.csv, and then with that, it'll give you some detailed information regarding
what the issue was, the report type, and the migration key. So just some additional information. So if you need to do some error checking with that, because this dialog can be kind of small if you have a lot of error messages in here. So we also provide the download error file, which is a CSV that you can do download as well. And that concludes my demonstration of the new Clarity report migration enhancements for 16.4.1.
So this concludes our demonstration of our Clarity report migration enhancements. Thank you.